Hey fam, welcome back to the channel. Why are you looking at me like that?
No, good.
Alright, so this video is gonna be my labor and delivery story. And the reason why Hasan is here is because he was in the room and he's gonna tell his part of the story.
I am.
Yeah, you're gonna tell your part because to be honest, I don't remember a lot of stuff after I started feeling that pain.
Okay, well, it's good to have another perspective, I guess.
Yeah, and I wanted to like record it, but it happened so quick. Like we didn't even have time to like get cameras and stuff out.
Honestly, it upset me because I didn't even get any scrubs. I'm like, is this sanitary? Y'all just gonna deliver the baby? I'm still in my shorts. Like, I didn't clean nothing up.
We gonna get to that part of the story. Okay. We're gonna get to that part of the story.
Sorry.
So, I was pregnant and my OBGYN was affiliated with Flushing Hospital. I told them from jump. Well, at first I agreed to go to Flushing Hospital, but then after doing research and talking to a whole bunch of other people, I realized that Flushing Hospital wasn't the greatest. So I was like, okay, I want to have my baby at Katz Women's Hospital. If you're in New York, you know Katz is the best hospital if you're going to have a baby or if you're a woman in general, because they specialize in dealing with women, right? So I went to her. I was like, I don't want to go to Flushing anymore. I want to have my baby at Katz. I called Katz. They scheduled a tour for us for the hospital January 7th. Now, I told them my due date was January 24th, and they scheduled it for January 7th. Now, I made this appointment like 3 months before. So I was 7 months pregnant when I made this appointment. I don't know why they didn't give it to me earlier, even though I told them that my doctor was not affiliated with their hospital. I don't know why they didn't let me do the tour earlier, or the class or whatever that I had to do earlier, but they scheduled it for January 7th, right? So going along in the pregnancy, I started to have a little bit of complications. Like, I think one weekend my feet were like super swollen, like my toes looked like Cheetos.
I feel like that's normal though.
No, but they went from not being swollen to like super swollen. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And like,
yeah.
I went to my doctor and they checked my blood pressure, and I think something was wrong with their machine because it was saying that my blood pressure was super, super high. But when I spoke to one of my doctor friends, she was like, if your blood pressure was that high, you would be dead. And they were like, oh, you have to go to the hospital right now, remember? Mm-hmm. And we had to leave and go to the hospital right away. Like, I didn't even get to finish my checkup or anything. We had to go straight to the hospital. And then I was in the hospital.
That's when I was at work?
No, you were there with me that time. You came. You had to sit outside. But
oh, yeah. Okay.
I had to go to the hospital because they were like, my blood pressure was really high. But then when they checked my blood pressure at the hospital, it was normal. Mm-hmm. And they checked it like 4 or 5 times, and it was normal. So then they were like, all right, everything is fine. We're going to send you home. Then I started to have to do the stress test for the baby, where they put the monitors on your stomach to make sure that the baby is okay. And every time I went, they had me stay longer. So the first time I went, they were like, oh, they don't like the readings for this one. Let's do it again. So I was there from like 11 o'clock to like 6 o'clock in the evening. No food, nothing to drink, because they're like, oh, you can't eat anything because of whatever test, right? So then they were like, oh, the baby's heart rate dropped mm-hmm. twice, mm-hmm. but then it came right back up.
Yeah, I remember that day. No.
Right? So I'm like, okay, and they're like, well, now you're gonna have to come in every week?
Something like that. They wanted you to come in like every week.
Every week I had to go and do this test because they wanted to make sure that the baby was good.
Which was really hard since we lost our car around that time.
Yeah, after a while we didn't have a car anymore. But I feel like they were doing that because they wanted me to have my baby there. because I kept telling them, I don't want to have my baby here. I want to have my baby at Cats. I want to have my baby at Flushing. Right? So they kept trying to like get me to come in just in case like something happens. They're like, okay, well, you need to go over to the delivery ward right now. Right? So I kept going every week. Every week it was the same thing. Like, oh, her heart rate dropped, but then it came right back up and it's normal. Then it was, after it was her heart rate dropping, it was like, oh, once we got closer to the date, it was the amniotic fluid is low. And the doctor was like, go home, drink a lot of water this week. They wanted to induce me actually that Friday. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why would you induce me Friday if you want to induce 2 weeks before the delivery date? It's not 2 weeks. I'm only seven. I think I wasn't 8 months yet. I wasn't 8 months yet. And they were saying based on the ultrasound that they did, I was 8 months. And I said, no, based on what my OBGYN told me, I'm still 7 months. Turns out my OBGYN never sent the necessary sonograms and all of that stuff to the hospital.
Negligent.
So they were just going based off of what they had. So they would have taken the baby earlier if I had not spoken up like, no, that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? This is what my doctor told me. And at first my due date was January 29th. Then they did another sonogram and then they told me it was January 24th. And that was it, January 24th. So they gave me another due date when I went to Flushing Hospital and did the first sonogram. And they were telling me like the due date was like the 20th. So they had moved the due date up again. And I knew that it was too far along in my pregnancy for me to have a new due date. So I kept saying to them, no, my due date is not January 20th. It's not January 20th. It's not January 20th. And I kept saying, why do you have in your system that it's January 20th when I keep telling you it's the 24th?
Yeah, they kept on saying like, oh, okay. Like they never changed it.
Right, and they weren't changing it. So then I had to go into my phone and show them the sonogram because I got the summary reports in my email. I had to show it to them. I was like, here's the email from the sonogram saying that my due date is the 24th. And that's when they were like, oh, okay. And then they called the place and got the sonograms from them to confirm what I had said. And then they were like, oh, the doctor never sent over the sonograms for us to know that this was your due date. So we were just going by what we did here. Anyways, he was like, eventually they were like, okay, the amniotic fluid is low. Go home and drink a lot of water this weekend. If it's still low when you come back, we're going to induce you. So that whole weekend, I was drinking a whole lot of water. I was drinking water. I maybe drank like a whole case of water. Mm-hmm. Like a whole 24 case of water.
We bought 2 cases of water from like BJ's and stuff like that. We had to go get another one ASAP.
Yeah, I drank almost a whole case of water. I was just drinking water. And I was very thirsty too. Like I was super thirsty. So I went back the following Tuesday and he was like, okay, it's still low. It didn't come back up. He was like, did you drink water? And I was like, yeah, I drank like almost a whole case of water. And he was like, the 24 pack? I was like, yeah. And he was like, wow. And you like, it's still pretty low. And so they sent me to labor and delivery for them to check to see if there was a leak in my what you call the thing?
Belly.
The thing that she was in my belly.
Womb.
I can't remember the name of it.
Amniotic sac? No. Amniotic? I don't know. I didn't study this.
They wanted to check to see if there was a leak. If there was a leak, why the amniotic fluid was low. And then, so I went over to labor and delivery. They asked me like, did you see any large amounts of water? Are you peeing more frequently? You know, asking me a whole bunch of questions. I'm like, no, everything is fine. Everything is normal. So then they checked me to see if I was dilated. I I think 1 or 2 centimeters dilated at the time. And I was having contractions, but I wasn't feeling them. And the contractions were like 2 to 3 minutes apart, they said. From the machine, they were like 2 to 3 minutes apart. He wasn't there with me that time. I went by myself because he still had to work. Because it's like, we have a baby coming, we need to save up money in order to, you know, make sure the baby is good. So he couldn't come with me to all the doctor visits and doctor appointments. So I was going to a lot of them by myself. My mom wasn't here, and my aunt lives too far away. Like, my best friends live too far away, so I didn't have anybody to go with me. I had a friend that was close by, but when I told her I was pregnant, she didn't really seem interested in me or my baby, so I didn't even like ask her to like come with me.
Spicy.
So yes, baby. I went over to labor and delivery. They did all their tests. They said everything was normal, but I would have to go back to do another test on Thursday. So this was the Monday, I think, and then they said I had to go back the Wednesday, right? Because it was the Wednesday I went into the hospital, right? Yeah. So it was the Monday I went, and then they said I had to go back on Wednesday to do the test again to see if the amniotic fluid dropped even further. Plus, I was already having contractions. So I went back on Wednesday. I really didn't want to go back because I was like, I do not want to have my baby in this hospital. I don't want to have my baby here. I want to have my baby at Katz. And I said it to the doctors at that hospital. I said it to the nurses. I was telling everybody, I don't want to have my baby here. I want to have my baby at Katz. And I think this is why they purposely had me coming back every week, because they wanted to be like, oh, we can't take the chance of you going to the other hospital right now. You have to have the baby right now. Wednesday I went back, right? And they did the sonogram again. And the amniotic fluid was lower, much lower than before. I don't remember the exact number, but it was lower than they would like it to be. And I appreciate the doctor there. He was very thorough, but I still didn't want to have my baby there. And, you know, once it dropped down, he was like, all right, you're 8 months now today, and your amniotic fluid is low. Let's get you over to labor and delivery. We have to induce you.
I was at work, or
you were at work. Hasan was at work.
Oh yeah, that definitely was at work.
So I called him up. I was like, babe, they're gonna induce me right now. I'm going over to labor and delivery. I'm so upset because I do not want to have my baby in this hospital. I'm so mad, and they're sending someone to come and get me to walk with me over to labor and delivery, which means I can't go over there by myself. Even though I'm fully capable to walk, I can't go over there by myself because they don't want me to be like, oh, I'm gonna just call a cab and go over to the hospital that I want to go to.
I remember that day too. I was sitting there telling everybody, like, yo, I gotta go, guys. I'm about to be a father today. Yo, see, peace. Yo, I'm out. It's good. I'm out. Let's go. We out. And I just went to take back to work. So go ahead, tell your story.
So I went over to labor and delivery. I was in triage for a little bit, and then they moved me to a room. And they had I had my list of things that I wanted for my delivery, and my birth preferences, and I handed it to the nurse. And let me tell you, they did nothing.
She was like, oh yeah, okay.
Nothing on that list. They were like, oh yeah, we're gonna try to do our best to like make sure you have everything that you want on your list. They did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's another reason that upset me about that hospital. I was like, I knew I should not have had my baby in this hospital, but you know what, it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. So I'm in the room, right, and I'm waiting for him to come. He leaves work, but he doesn't show up till like 10 o'clock at night.
Hold on, wait a minute. You gonna start bashing me? What is it?
I'm not bashing you, but he left work like around. What time did you leave work? I was at. They sent me to labor and delivery like around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, right?
Oh, yeah.
He did not show up till like 10 o'clock because he didn't want to pay too much money for Uber.
What you mean? First off, I had walked home. I had to walk home, right? And it wasn't even like 3 or 4 that I got. You told me like 5. I still stayed like an hour or so at work. I didn't leave work until like an hour or so after you told me because I tried to get a little bit more hours in.
So that I was there for a while by myself.
Bus.
I was there for a while.
Then I had to go home, get snacks, you know, all types of stuff to be at the house.
He was home cooking, doing a whole bunch of
and
stuff.
I had to eat. You wanted some food, right?
You came too late. You came after they gave me the pill, so I couldn't even eat.
I didn't know that was the case. I would have came a lot earlier. I would have got you some Popeyes. I didn't want to get you no crazy food. I wanted to make you some home cooked stuff. You know what I mean?
So I was there, and I was there by myself for a while, and I was just like, you know what? I'm asleep. I'm just trying to get as much rest as I can because I know once the baby gets here, it's over for sleep. So I was just there chilling in the hospital. Once he got home, I was on the phone with him while I was at the hospital. And they gave me the pill like around, I want to say they gave it to me like around 7.
Yeah, it was around 7.
They gave me the first dose to induce me like around 7. So I was like, they gave me something to eat first. And then 30 minutes later, they gave me the pill. And that hospital food was nasty.
It wasn't that bad. It was just, a little bland. And you picky.
No, that chicken was still pink inside, Hasan. I sent you the picture, remember?
Oh, the first time. Yeah, but when I was there, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great.
I'm like, how y'all giving pregnant women pink chicken? Y'all trying to kill somebody.
It was probably smoked. I don't know. I'm just saying. Do your thing.
And the chicken had flavor too. I'm not even gonna lie, because I like picked at the skin at first, but then when I went deeper and saw that it was pink, I was like, no, bro, no. So then I was there in the hospital. I had a really nice nurse. She was very nice. And she kept coming to check on me, make sure I was okay. And at the time I was still by myself. Then Hasan finally showed up.
Under the bus, this whole video, I'm about to.
Hasan finally showed up. Hasan finally showed up.
With my sleeping bag under the bus. I'm gonna live there.
We were just in the hospital room. I think we have like video clips too.
Probably, I don't know.
I didn't edit those videos. I didn't put them up. I gotta check. So I'll upload them at some point. But like, we were in the hospital just chilling, talking. The baby's heart rate kept dropping, and after she was born, I realized why her heart rate kept dropping. She liked to stretch, and every time she stretched, she held her breath. So the stretch was so good. You know when the stretch is good and you just like and you like hold your breath? That's what was happening. She was stretching and she was holding her breath, and that caused her heart rate to drop, and then it would come right back up. It would just drop for like 2 seconds and come right back up. So actually, even before I went into labor and delivery, remember I was in the hospital one night. Like, I was in the hospital for Christmas, right?
Yeah.
We spent Christmas in the hospital because her heart rate kept dropping, and then once it was like good, they moved us to another room. Like they were kind of getting ready to send us home. It dropped again. We had to go back to labor and delivery. Anyways, so we spent Christmas in the hospital, and then I went back to the hospital on New Year's, and then this is where this whole saga happened leading up to going to labor and delivery. So we were just in the hospital all night, all day, and they gave me another dose of the Pitocin, I think. Not Pitocin. I don't remember the name of the pill. But they gave me another dose like later on in the night because they kept checking to see if like, because I was still having contractions 2 to 3 minutes apart. I just wasn't feeling them. And I wasn't dilated. So they're like, okay, you're not in labor yet. You know, you're in early labor, you're not in active labor. So I was just there chilling, like we was laughing, making jokes. He went to sleep. I was up because I had slept during the day. So I was up and I couldn't sleep. And the nurse came in and she was like, you need to go to sleep because when you go into labor, you're gonna be tired. You need to rest. And I was like, I'm trying, but I'm not tired. And then when I did finally fall asleep, the doctors came in, woke me up. I think I had a new nurse too at one point. She just came in there, did a whole bunch of stuff, didn't even introduce herself. I'm like, who is this? Who is this lady doing stuff in my room? Like, I don't know who this person is. So,
that wasn't an Asian lady, right?
No, it was this white lady. She came in, she was like just doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm like, who is this? Like, are you a nurse? Do you work here?
Yeah, didn't even introduce herself now.
Yeah. So then the next day now, like I fell asleep, I woke up. I can't eat anything now really because, you know, they already started the induction process. So I'm only getting like clear fluids and like clear broth and jello and icy and all of that stuff. So I'm hungry. Hasan over here eating spaghetti, eating chicken, eating Dunkin' Donuts. And I'm like, bruh, you dead ass.
You're making it sound like a whole spread. It was like the spaghetti was food that was for you and for I. What chicken I had? The chicken downstairs from like the Asian spots because it was in Flushing. You know, it was in like Chinatown. And
then you went and got Dunkin's late in the night.
I got a chicken sandwich. I got a shrimp burger for you. You had a shrimp burger.
No, that was after.
That was after. Yeah, you're right.
That was after, but like you got Dunkin', you got donuts for me too, but then I couldn't eat it. So then you were like, can I have one of your donuts?
Yeah, you couldn't eat it.
And then ate my donuts.
Well, you want to let them get stale?
No, they wouldn't have been stale. I would have had the baby, and then I would have been able to eat my donuts.
Days later, the Dunkin' Donuts was right downstairs. I even got some more donuts.
So I was just there, hungry, right? So then the nurse came in, and she was like, the anesthesiologist is going into like 4 C-sections back to back, so she's gonna come and give you the epidural now, because I had requested an epidural because of my back issues. I didn't want to like put further strain on my back, right? So I already knew that I was gonna get the epidural, and that was a whole other issue too, because they wanted me to get a letter from my surgeon saying that it was okay for me to get epidural, and I called my surgeon. They're like, yeah, it's fine, like you after 6 months you're good. And I had the surgery in 2018, and it's 2020 now, and I told them that. He was like, no, we need to get a letter from your doctor. So then they like 5 of them came in at once.
I love how you always make everybody that says you no sound so evil, like they're tyrants. Like, no, we will not allow anything that you say that you want.
But that's what they were doing. Remember,
Shut
like
your face.
5 of them came in
said
there.
No.
5 of them came in there like military, like, and I'm like, yo, what's going on?
We need that signature.
It's like, you had a surgery? Well, we need this from your doctor and blah, 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 blah. So then when I spoke to the manager at the surgeon's office, she was like, if they have any issues, give them my number and let them call me. So the doctor goes to call her and calls me. So I'm in the hospital bed and I pick up the phone, hello? And she's like, hi, I'm calling in regards to a patient, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, I'm the patient. I'm Keri. So she was like, oh, okay, click. Like, so then they finally talk to the surgeon's office and they give them the go ahead. So she comes in and she gives me the epidural. So I'm still not feeling anything. Like before she gives me the epidural too, they check me to see if I'm dilated. I'm only 3 centimeters dilated, right? So,
Baby not gonna fit through that.
she's so sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
So they give me the epidural. So I'm there just chilling or whatever, and maybe like, was it like an hour later, I started feeling pain.
At which point are we?
After they gave me the epidural. The first time.
Oh, you skipped all the way to the epidural part where they gave you. Oh, the first time they gave you the epidural.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't kicking in.
It was kicking in, but then after a while, I started feeling pain. Was it like an hour?
I don't recall.
Or was it like 2 hours?
I don't recall. I'm thinking. I remember the epidural when you was waiting on.
So the first round of epidural, I was just there, but it wasn't the epidural where everything was numb. I could still like feel my feet and stuff.
I remember that now, yeah.
So it just was just supposed to relieve some of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there, I'm chilling. I'm like, all right. I started to feel some pain. I don't even know how much longer after this happened. Maybe it was like an hour or 2 hours after, right? And I start feeling some pain. I was like, oh. I was like, I'm feeling a little pain, Hasan. And I kind of said it calmly at first because it wasn't hurting that bad at first. I was like, I'm feeling a little pain. I'm not supposed to be feeling anything when I have the epidural, right? So I'm sitting there and then I feel the pain again. And every time it comes back harder. So it's like hurting now. And I'm like, Hasan, I'm feeling pain. Like something is wrong. I'm not supposed to be feeling pain. Right? And I'm like, Hasan, something is wrong. Call the nurse.
I'm just sitting there like, you're giving birth. You're having a baby.
Yes, but I had just done the epidural, so I'm not expecting to feel pain.
You're still going to feel pain.
Right? Because everybody that gets the epidural is like, oh, I don't really feel anything. I just feel pressure. I wasn't feeling pressure. I was feeling pain. And I was feeling it in my lower abdomen and around to my butt. Right? So this is like maybe like 4:30 now. Like 4 o'clock, I want to say.
Something like that. I don't know. You check it for me? I don't remember. I was in the daze.
Right? So I'm like, Hasan, I'm feeling pain. Something is wrong. I don't understand what's going on. I got the epidural. Why am I feeling this pain? And it hurts. Then it gets to the point where it's like unbearable and I start crying. And I'm like, Hasan, I can't do this. Tell the nurse, tell him to give me a C-section. Just take the baby.
Hold on. Hold on. You're going too fast now. You got to too fast. Slow it down. You got some of the epidural, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, and you're sitting there breathing. It's like, yeah. I'm telling you. I'm like, yo. It's just gonna happen soon. They said you're gonna have it. What about the dilations though? They said you was at 3, and then they kept on coming back to check back and forth, right?
They came one other time after the first round of epidural, like before I got the second round of epidural.
I feel like they came twice to check you, and he was like, "Oh, you're still small."
Yeah, I was still at 3 centimeters.
Still 3 centimeters, and you was still like, "Oh yeah, we're still good. And then it was like, and then they kept on leaving. And we're like, they said, sorry, we're short-staffed. So I'm like, short-staffed? Or you're like how many people are having babies right now? You know, I know a lot of people have babies at the same time. But they were short-staffed. So when it was time for the epidurals now, he's like, oh, don't worry, we're coming back to give you the epidurals. I'm hearing people yelling in the background. Keri, she's like, Hasan.
I didn't hear anybody yelling. That's why I wasn't screaming, because I was like, I don't want to be the only one in this hospital screaming.
It's like, something is wrong. You gotta tell somebody. I'm like, Keri, you about to have a baby. This is supposed to hurt. I think, like, you knew what you was getting into. And she's like, no, something is wrong. I can't do this. I'm like Keri, you got this. You're a strong woman. You're strong. I've seen you persevere You got this. This is your baby. This is what you wanted. This is what we wanted. So you got this. She's like, and she's like, okay.
No, the nurse had to come in and tell me to breathe.
Oh yeah, that too.
Because I was holding my breath every time I felt the pain.
Oh yeah, I was telling you to breathe. You didn't want to listen to me. And
because it hurt. Like when you feel pain, your first instinct is to like tense up to try to like.
But then what I tell you, I told you to breathe. And
yes, everybody was telling me to breathe, but
you only listened to that nurse.
I still wasn't listening to the nurse.
You was listening after that nurse.
I was not listening to the nurse because I was like, I was in pain. I started crying.
She was like, no, it's okay. And then she looked in. We still good.
But after you called her in, I was like, I want a C-section.
Hold on. It was before you called her in. You was like, no, Hasan. Every time it was like, I would see it like you had the monitor hooked up to you, and I heard it like start to spike, and I was like, oh no. So I would look at you, and he was like, no, something's wrong. And I'm like, is something wrong? Are you just having a baby, or is something legitimately wrong? I have no idea now. She's like, no. Call somebody now. They need to be in here. I'm like, I went out in the hallway. Hello, hi. She's like, yes. She had a baby. Like she in pain, I don't know, and she come in.
And the nurse came in and she was like, just breathe. She was like, where do you feel the pain? In your belly?
You feel like
and I was like, no, I feel it in my abdomen and I feel like pressure around my butt.
She said you have to do.
And she was like, oh, that could mean that the baby is coming. It might not be that you need more epidural. I was like, just take the baby out. Just give me the C-section.
She's like, I need.
She was
something.
Like, no.
Give me the C-section. No. Because I went in the hallway and I asked her. I was like, I don't know how you guys do this. But she said you want a C-section now. Like, could you just cut her open or something like that and just grab that baby? I'm trying to talk her into it. Like, I don't know the procedures. I don't know if it's too late. But she wants a C-section now.
Listen, I was crying. And
then she's like, no, she doesn't need C-section.
Like tears, literal tears.
C-section. It's
and
too
the
late
nurse
for
came in and she was like, just breathe. And I was like, just take the baby, give me a C-section, just take it. She was like, no, you could do this. You could do it. Yo, shout out to that nurse. Mm-hmm. She's like, no, you could do this.
Little Asian lady, yeah.
You could do this. You're not getting a C-section. You could do this.
And I'm sitting and I'm not holding her. And then she came back in. She's like, oh, there we go. It's time now. I was like, excuse me? I'm still in this dirty shirt.
No, not yet. You jumping.
No, we're not. That's right.
Yes, you are. Because then she called the doctor to check me again to see if I'm dilated. And the doctor checked me and I was still at 3.
Then you out of order.
And no. And then the anesthesiologist came back and gave me the second round of epidural because the doctor said I was still at 3 centimeters.
When they gave you the second round of epidural, that's when you asked me for the C-section.
No, it was right before that.
Yes, because you said you wasn't getting it. What's it called? After the epidural, I asked for the C-section.
After the first epidural.
No, because you wasn't kicking in.
Baby, the first epidural I got, right? And then maybe like an hour or two later, I started feeling the pain. She called the doctor to check me to see if I was delivering the baby because they didn't want to give me more epidural if I was delivering the baby. So the doctor checked me and I was still at 3. That's when the anesthesiologist came back and gave me the second round.
The anesthesiologist took mad long because she was dealing with other people.
Yeah, she took like 30 minutes, but then she came back and gave me the second round of epidural. And then it didn't kick in right away. I was still feeling the pain.
Exactly. That's why you wanted to get the C-section.
The doctor came back again and checked and she was like, "Oh, you're at 10." So in the
Because I remember you got that second epidural, and that epidural wasn't kicking in, and it wasn't kicking in right away, and you was in a lot of pain. And I'm sitting there
I was still asking for the C-section then.
You was asking for the C-section after the second. You didn't get another epidural after I asked for the C-section. Because he was like, no, I need this. This needs to change. And I was like, well, she got the epidural, and nothing's happening. Is something wrong? Like.
And then the doctor came back and checked, and she was like, "Oh, you're 10 centimeters." So I jumped from 3 to 10
in like 10
minutes. Because she had came before, checked me, I was good. So they're like, "Okay, we'll give her another round of epidural." And the doctor came, gave me the epidural, and I was still feeling the pain at first. And I was still saying, "Just take the baby, take the baby." And they were like, "No, just breathe, just breathe." And then the doctor came back again. Actually, the nurse looked, and I think she saw the baby coming.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she went and got the doctor, because she held my legs up.
She said, "Oh, okay, baby coming."
She was like, "No, you gotta hold her leg up." She told Hasan to hold my leg up, and she was holding my other leg, and they were like, "Just breathe, and when you feel the contraction, just push," right? So she was getting ready to deliver me. They didn't set up anything.
No.
yet.
What is it? The things for your feet?
Stirrups and all of that. So then
I was holding her legs up.
So then that's when she called the doctor to come back again, like 10 minutes after the doctor just checked me. And the doctor checked me again. She was like, "Yeah, she's 10 centimeters dilated. She's ready to deliver this baby." So they're setting up, right, while I'm pushing. Scott was like, I was there all night, all day. She was like, "I'm coming now, and I'm coming right now. I want to be out now. I'm coming right now."
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't build up to it. She was just like, "Okay, I'm ready. I'm coming." So then I started pushing, and I was still feeling the pain because the epidural had not kicked in yet. Mind you, I just got that second round of epidural. So I'm like, they was like, "Okay, every time you feel the pain, just push."
It took like 30 minutes to kick in.
I don't think it took that long.
Maybe 20.
It kicked in while I was pushing.
Yeah, it kicked in while
And
you
then
pushing.
once it kicked in, and it was good, I was able to push. Like, I wasn't feeling a lot of pain. I was able to like push calmly.
I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what's up. Get this baby out," because you was hollering before.
Yeah, I was in pain. I was like, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think straight. It was so much pain. Like, before the epidural kicked in, it was so much pain. I couldn't think straight. So it's hard to think like, okay, breathe and push and do this and do that. I was like, it's too much things for me to do at once with this amount of pain. So once the epidural kicked in, it kicked in, I think, when her head was almost out.
When the epidural kicked in?
Yeah.
No.
Her head wasn't almost out?
Nah,
Because I was still pushing.
You was still pushing, but after a while, before that baby's head started coming out, you was doing good. Like, it was like the initial pushing where you actually saw the baby, it was easy for you. It was like when the doctors started to come in to set up, that's when you started to chill out a little bit. You wasn't bugging out too much. It was like before the people came in there, you was like, "No, get this baby out of me. C-section, C-section." I'm like,
I was not yelling C-section.
That's what it felt like. But it was more like you had me scared because it was like, no, it was not like that. You was not angry. You
I was
like,
crying.
You sounded no, I can't do this. No. I was like,
no.
And you made me really worried because I'm like,
no.
You acted like you didn't know this was gonna happen.
Something's wrong. Take the baby. Just take the baby.
I'm like, we had 9 months. We had 9 months to know that this was about to happen. We knew about this before you got pregnant. We knew how babies work. You know, so when you started acting like that, I'm thinking something is seriously going wrong with Keri right now. We have to get a C-section because she is freaking out. She is going through it right now. But then before they started setting up, he was like, the epidural must have kicked in.
Yeah,
and then that's
down.
when they got
I was
you
able to breathe and like push the baby.
And he was just like, I was like, yeah. You didn't even squeeze my hand too hard or nothing like that. You just held my hand, and he was just pushing out, and it was, and it was like it happened so fast. He
saw the baby coming out.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even in scrubs, like he said earlier.
Like I said, like they had me holding her legs,
up, getting dressed while I was pushing.
I was like, am I supposed to leave the room? And I was a little scared too because I was a little sick. I'm like, am I supposed to be in here right now? But
and at 5:15 she was born. So all of this started at like 4:30.
Yeah.
So it was like 45 minutes tops, and she was out.
Like all the screaming, all the pain. You wasn't like it was hurting a lot at like 3, but
no, it started hurting like around. like around 4.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So yeah. So 4:15.
That's
no,
what
4:30. You said?
I think around 4:30. That's when they came back to check me.
Yeah. So it was like it just started like 3 o'clock. I wouldn't have expected anything to happen in the next 2 hours. I was still thinking it was gonna be like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock birth and stuff like that.
No.
Like no, it was like the next
It
10
was
minutes.
quick.
It was like, oh, this is happening, guys. Like
It was quick. They had to set up everything while I was
because they were
pushing.
in and out all day, and it was like, okay,
I
nothing's
was at
happening.
3 all day.
Nothing's happening, and you think you've got to set up, and then you think I'm thinking they're gonna talk to me like, all right, so this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna have to wait outside. You're gonna do this. You can come wait in the waiting room, but you gotta wash up. You gotta do all of this, blah blah blah, this and this and that. But no, it was just like, oh, the baby's coming. Time to get. I was like,
I see
now?
your head.
What? You know, and everybody was like, "Oh, the father, you gonna freak out? You gonna pass out?"
I thought he was gonna pass out.
Why?
Because he saw everything. He was just looking down
it was
there.
like, you doing good, baby.
Tell your story. What did you see?
What did I see? I saw them. Well, what bugged me out because I'm thinking like, why y'all squeezing my baby head so hard? Like, let it ease it out. She's pushing fine, grabbing her head because it was like, you know, like the baby's head is soft. So they was like pushing on it. I was like, y'all squeezing her brain into her chins right now. Like, don't even bring it back.
They was pouring mad baby oil and stuff. I don't know if it was baby oil, but some kind of oil.
It was motor oil. They was putting motor oil on me.
They was pouring some kind of oil, like dousing me with oil.
And I'm just sitting there, just right here. I ain't showered in like 2 days because of this, and it's like. It was like, I don't even feel clean to be in this room right now with y'all. Like, I feel dirty. This is whack. You know, let me wash my hands at least. Let me go wash my hands. And I couldn't move because everybody was setting it up. And when the baby came, I was like, yo, Keri, you handled that like a champ. It might have been an epidural.
Baby came out, poop, and then like water just went everywhere.
Splashing stuff. I'm like... I'm glad I'm on this side of the baby.
And I wanted him to cut the umbilical cord. I put that on my birth preference. They didn't let him cut the umbilical cord. They didn't even ask him if he wanted to cut it.
It was all over the place.
And then I said on there that I didn't want any students in there. They had a student doctor.
They had like 2 of them. Deliver
the baby, and then the other doctor, the actual doctor was there like coaching her, telling her what to do. And then the student stitched me up too afterwards. I'm like, I specifically said I don't want any students because anything could happen. Like, I want the experienced person here doing this. Like, I get that you're here monitoring everything, but anything could go wrong. Like, the student could mess up, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and everything, it was just a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was.
But then she came out, she cried right away. And then they put the hat on her and she went. She was hanging onto that hat for like 30 minutes. She did not want that hat on her head.
She was kicking as soon as she got out. She's sitting there kicking people. You know how they gotta get the footprint?
She was kicking from in my belly. And I kept telling everybody, I was like, she kicks nonstop. She kicks nonstop. And I don't think even Hasan believed me that she kicked nonstop.
I believe that she kicked you, but
I don't think you believe to the extent that I was saying it. I don't think you
I don't think I understood. It's not about me believing you. Like, I knew that she kicked you, but now when I saw it, like when she was born, I'm like, oh, she must have been like,
she's still kicking.
Chun-Li with the kicks, like Liu Kang. Like,
as soon as you touch her,
the nurse was trying to get her footprint. Put the little black thing on her foot. She was kicking.
Footprints all up the nurse arm.
All up the nurse arm. I was like, why are you abusing this lady? You was 5 minutes alive.
Not even 5 minutes. Just kicking. She still kicks. To this day, still kicking 4 months later. Like, you come close to her, as soon as she gets the opportunity to kick you, kicking.
Yeah, we're going to get into taekwondo or something. Some track. Something with legs. Soccer. Football.
Yeah, so then After that, I was in the hospital for like until like Saturday. So I had the baby Thursday. I was out of the hospital Saturday. We brought her home and everything was good.
Yeah.
She was our little 5-pound, 2-ounce baby. How tall was she? 18 inches?
Yeah, 18.
18 inches.
18? That's it? Wait, I feel like she got a lot bigger. She only grew 2?
She's 25 inches.
Well, she's 25. I thought she was 20.
She's 25 inches now.
Yeah, she was 18 when she was born.
So, that was an experience. But she's here, and I'm so happy. She's so smart, and I know parents say this about their children all the time because that's your baby. You know, you're gonna be like, "Oh, my baby," but she really is smart. Like,
she does math.
She doesn't do math, but like, she understands a lot of things that babies at 4 months don't usually understand. Like, she was rolling over at like 3 months. She's holding her bottle already. Like, like if I take my phone out to record her, she knows that I'm recording her.
That was from like 2 months too.
And
she
like,
stopped.
Babies don't recognize themselves.
Oh yeah, she
in a mirror or whatever. Like, she knows that's her. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna do a 4-month update anyway. So we just saying this right now. Like, she's here. She's smart. She's the perfect baby for us. Like, I don't know about you, but she's a perfect baby for me. Like, she does not cry. Like, she is so sweet. She's so adorable. I love her so much. Like, she's the best thing that ever happened to me. Like, I would not trade that experience for nothing.
Simmer down. You about to work yourself up. I see it. Let's finish the video. She's like the best. She's the best thing.
I love her so much, yo. You don't even understand. Like I know parents. Like, I used to hear parents say all the time, like, you can't imagine how much I love her. And now I know what they were talking about. I was like, I know you love your baby. But you don't, like, I don't know where all this extra love came from, you know. It's like,
it's immense.
It's so much. But that's my labor and delivery story. I probably left a whole lot of stuff out because I didn't want to make this video too long.
No, you got a good amount of stuff.
It's probably already a long video.
Long.
But
we've been here for 5 hours. You know.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, share the video. We're going to be doing a giveaway soon. So we'll have a separate video for that. Just to let you guys, give you guys a heads up. We're going to be doing a giveaway soon. That's the end of this video.
Yeah, that's the end of the video.
We hope you enjoyed, and we catch you in the next one.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.